الآن أنا راح أفتح المجال إلى الأسئلة، وراح أركز على الأسئلة اللي عندي في الشات بوكس، ولكن صراحة من خلال ما لاحظته أنه بعض الأسئلة أساساً أنا جاوبتها في الملخص اللي حكيته، اللي حكى عنه الدكتور خان مشكوراً. أعتقد هنالك أسئلة دائماً تراود المختصين ويسألون عنها، هي موضوع الامتحانات وموضوع الغش وموضوع النموذج المثالي إلى الإكزامز بالإي ليرنينج. هذا السؤال اللي شفته أنا شخصياً أنه ما تم يجوز تغطيته بشكل مباشر، لأن البروف كان مهتم بالهيكلية، فراح أوجه له هذا السؤال حتى يجاوب عليه. بروف خان, there is one question about the examination, because a lot of the academics in the universities, whenever there is an e-learning presentation, they express how worried they are, and they are worried in controlling the cheating and the plagiarism during the exams. So what's your main points and what's your advice to overcome such a problem?
Well, first of all, cheating situation will happen if you create the testing in such a way that they can cheat. For example, if you give multiple choice questions and students can share. However, if you create the multiple choice questions, but you make it adaptive testing. Adaptive testing means, suppose you are asking or you're creating a test where for each objectives, learning objectives, suppose you have an umbrella, you spoke of umbrella, you have each objective. So for each objective, you create 3 types of questions. One is the most difficult question, one is mediocre, one is simple. So for each objective, for each domain, you create 3 questions. So maybe you have 30 objectives, you have 90 questions. 33 questions, 93 questions, or 99 questions, 33 simple questions, 33 mediocre questions, 33 most difficult questions. If that's the case, you have to do a testing system called adaptive testing. Adaptive testing meaning that if you students, 2 of them sitting next to each other, and the test started. So from 99 questions that you have, it will pull randomly selected and give it to the student.
Yeah.
So if Abdullah next to me and Badr on the left, we are sitting next to each other, but I'm not getting the same question as he is.
Okay.
Adaptive to my answer. So the computer will select maybe the most difficult question from one domain.
Yeah.
If I got it right, I can go to the next domain. If the computer gives a mediocre question from one domain to Abdullah, what would Abdullah have? He has to answer it. If you answer it, then he's given the most difficult question from that domain.
Okay. Yeah.
Or if you cannot answer the mediocre question, you'll be given more simple questions. It's called mastery testing. So it is adaptive and mastery. And if you use this, what happens that nobody will get the same questions, maybe 1 or 2 times, but it's mostly adaptive. One is adaptive to your responses, to your performances. So that way, nobody can cheat. But it is more work for professor teacher, because you have to start creating many of these questions. Mediocre, simple, difficult questions, which is good though. So once you create one, you just put on the pool and the computer, something called, the adaptive testing mechanism will pick and get. They don't even know which one they want to pick, is automatically based on your responses.
Okay. Yeah, quite clear. طبعا yeah, it's quite clear, Prof.
Let me tell you more.
Sorry. Yeah.
So if you give multiple choice question, if it's not adaptive, they will have tendency to fall. Hey, tell me the answer of that question.
Yeah.
Or if you give true, false. Now, I do not believe much of the testing. I believe in competency-based learning. There are things called norm-based and criterion-based. Norm-based means, like in Bangladesh, we have somebody say that the first boy in the class, he got the best student in the class. And other person is the second best in the class. So it's called norm-based. Students are competing with each other. Like you are norm-based, the British gave this to us, which is norm-based, ranking people. But we call, second option is called criterion referencing. Means what is it that you want to learn? The mastery. If I'm teaching you how to drive, and as long as you can drive, it doesn't matter you drive faster than Abdullah or Badr, but you drive masterfully. You take as much time you want, you master that content, master this criterion. So it is about norm-based versus, which is most all curriculum used to do that. Oh, he ranked number 1 in the class. We ranked number 2, but when in the real world, we don't know. They don't compete anymore. They compete at the job, competency. So if you start thinking about competency-based, do the project-based, problem-solving skills. So no one will be competing with themselves, but will be competing with the content, the criterion, the subject.
Yeah.
Using problem-based, that you can use. Project-based. So in my courses, I would do some maybe adaptive testing or multiple choice just to screen the students, their level of understanding so they can go to the next adaptive learning. See, there is something called adaptive testing. There is something called adaptive learning. Yeah. Based on your responses with e-learning, it will decide which route you should take. If I give you 10 multiple choice questions, testing your prerequisite skill, understanding, if I see you got all right, so I don't have to send you to lesson 1, you can go directly to lesson 2. Screening, it helps. So the pedagogy of thinking, are you trying to test students just to see whether you can pass the course, or you want to create a new generation of our children, new generation of our citizens who can go into the field of the real world and solve problems? One of the things, think about Bill Gates, the richest intelligent person. He did not finish college at Harvard. He's a dropout. He became the largest employer in the world, one of the largest employers. So would he employ someone got out of Ivy League name universities? No, he should, I don't know if he does, but he should be thinking about himself, that I need someone with these competencies to do the job. Doesn't matter where he or she comes from, as long as he or she can perform the work and make the community that he's supposed to serve happy. So I call globally that we should be thinking about competency-based curriculum. Things students will learn and can perform and immediately employable and to the workplace, and people will get benefit out of it. So this is my call for competency-based flexible learning opportunities globally.
Okay, thanks Prof. طبعا جوابه إذا نريد نحكي على الامتحان وعلى موضوع الغش، أولا بالتعليم الإلكتروني لا يتم التركيز بشكل كبير جدا جدا عالميا على الامتحان، وما يعطون عليه وزن جدا جدا كبير، وإنما يشركون مع الامتحان قضايا الاسايمنت، الاسايز، البروجكت، المشاريع، يشجعون الطالب على طريقة التفكير التحليلي، على طريقة حل المشاكل اللي سماه بروبلم سولفينج، ينطوا دراسات حالة، يعني ينطوا مهارات كثيرة غير الامتحان التقليدي اللي احنا نعتمد عليه بشكل كبير جدا. فالجانب الأول حتى موضوع الغش ما يأرقنا، لازم نقلل الوزن على الامتحانات بشكل عام ونزيد الوزن على المهارات، لأنه هو مثل ما قال أنه عالميا الآن حتى لو واحد خريج أفضل جامعة بالعالم من راح يجيبه، ما راح يمتحنوا بالشركة أو بالمصنع أو بالمؤسسات الكبيرة، وإنما راح يشوفون مهاراته وقابليته. زين، إذا عنده مهارات يعينون، إذا ما عنده مهارات يجوز يعينون شخص متخرج من كلية جدا عادية وليست هي من الكليات الرانكينج. طبعا هو ما قالها، لكن يعني هو عالميا هذا التوجه، انه حتى الرانكينج للجامعات بعد سنين ما راح يكون جدا مهم، راح يركزون على المهارات اللي ياخذها الخريج. هذا بشكل عام. بس لما نجاوب سبيسيفيكلي بشكل مخصوص على الامتحانات، قال ممكن نحلها انه الدكتور يتعب شويه، لان احنا عندنا اهداف عامه تعليميه، وداخل الاهداف هاي المظله عندنا اهداف ثانويه. فعلى الدكتور ان يسوي له فد 100 سؤال، 33 سؤال بسيط، 33 سؤال متوسط، 33 سؤال صعب، يختبر بيهم الطلبه، ومن يمتحنون على الكمبيوتر وعلى الاونلاين هذا البنك من الاسئله الكثيره. لذلك هو شويه يتعب يعني التعليم الالكتروني. راح شو يسوي؟ راح يختار عشوائيا، يسوي راندمايزنج الى الاسئله، فيقول الطالب اللي قاعد على يميني وعلى يساري يطلع عنده سؤال يختلف عن السؤال اللي طالع عندي وما يقدر يغش، يعني إذا غش راح يتورط. فنقدر نتحكم بالغش بشكل كبير جدا بهذه الطريقة، لأن عدد الأسئلة كبير، الوقت محدود، الطالب ما عنده وقت كثير حتى يغش ويسأل ويسولف ويتلفت. وإذا عمل هذه الحالة راح يتورط، لأن الكمبيوتر يختار الأسئلة بشكل عشوائي، كل واحد يظهر عنده سؤال مختلف. بس هو بشكل عام بالنسبة إليه يقول أنا الامتحان أختبره، قال عليه عملية سكرينينج، يعني شلون المنخل، أجي أنخل الطلبة بي، أشوف هذا يستحق أعبره على الليفل الأعلى من الكورس وتعلم المبادئ ومشي بيها، لو ما يستحق أعبره. فيقول على ضوء الامتحان أنا أوجه الطلاب شنو الكورسات اللي أخذوها، مو أقول له أنت رسبت فشلت روح عيد السنة وأطلع، أو أنت نجحت. فالفلسفة بالتعليم الإلكتروني جدا جدا مختلفة عن التعليم التقليدي. Prof, another quick question. Some academics are asking which one is best for Iraqi institutions, synchronous or asynchronous learning. And I don't know, I believe you answered that. You are with the blended learning, but also we can briefly listen to your reply, please.
I'm trying to see, because the question of synchronous and asynchronous, there's some called Bloom's Taxonomy. This is a book, it's called Khan E-Learning Tips. And this book also is coming, Dr. Josim worked on it. The book came from Iraq, from Syria, Damascus, Electronia. Yeah. Okay, so in the new book will have this. This is the new book. It's so something called Bloom's Taxonomy. So in here, so it shows, so let me find it. Anyway, I will make sure that I send the link. So
yeah.
Taxonomy says that it's called from knowledge to evaluation. It's like go like that. Simple to complex.
Too complex, yeah.
Yeah. So synchronous means one has to be in front of you. live, like we are synchronous now.
Like now, yeah.
Like now. Asynchronous means not live. One can record it and watch it later. So in teaching, you need to figure out which content in your course you need a student to be with you. That is synchronous. In this situation, that's why you need to, like when a medical surgeon when do the surgery on a patient, so students around have to see it. So that is synchronous. But if they watch, before they come to the class, they watch it on the electronic media, that is e-learning, which is asynchronous.
Okay.
So on in Iraq or any other countries, if the content demand that you need to be with the students at a workshop, then you do the synchronous. And synchronous can be done physical or you can done virtual. If I want to show you something right now, I can show it like this. So that is synchronous virtual. But if I have to come to your class to show it, that is synchronous physical.
Physical. Okay, Prof. I will briefly, because there are a lot of questions and we want to save the time and give the opportunity to...
Dr. Rami, let me ask you, now I know I had to be brief because when translate a lot, so I tried to be brief. I didn't realize that. Thank you very much.
Okay, because you've got a lot of questions and the people are eager, to listen to your advice and directions. طبعا هو التعليم المدمج هو عملية المزج بين أنواع التعليم المختلفة، فجوابه ببساطة أنه التدريسي والقسم والشخص المختص هو الذي يقرر أي جزء من الكورس يقدر أن يعطيه افتراضي وأي جزء يقدر يعطيه أونلاين وأي جزء أوفلاين، ويجوز بعض الشغلات اللي هي دائما الورش يهتمون بها طلبة الهندسة والطب وبعض الاختصاصات المفروض اللي يجي إلى الكامبس، وهو هذا مبدأ التعليم المدمج اللي احنا نشجع عليه بالجامعات العراقية، اللي هو أنت تمزج بيناتهم حتى يعطيك مرونة إلى القسم العلمي وإلى التدريسي. هو أفضل من يقرر أي جزء يعطى virtual أو physical synchronous أو not synchronous، ماكو تحديدات بهذا الجانب. Another quick question, Prof. Do you suggest any platform for Iraqi universities? Because people talking, some of them about Moodle, people talking about Google Suite Extra. Is there anything in mind, please?
Well, first of all, I do not endorse any tool or company's product. If it's open source, like Moodle is open source, use open source, but you program it and design the platform for your needs. Or you can use all different kind of things. Like sometimes you can use radio. In Bangladesh, when I was in 2014, I was talking about e-learning, and I suggested that why they don't use the parliament TV. They have, their government has a parliament, like a Congress, they have a television. Why they don't use it? Even very interestingly, now, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, in Bangladesh, they're using parliament television to offer school courses. The broadcast. The same way, you need to start thinking about all the available resources. Can you blend them together, put them together to offer courses? So learning management system using Moodle, sometimes campus radio, campus television, some shows. I was in West Bank, Palestine, and Nazar National University. I gave a very nice interview about e-learning before COVID-19 started. That was in December last year. So they have this wonderful Nazar television that in West Bank in Palestine. So you see, you can have your campus television also have interviews from professors, experts. Those clips can be used in the classes. So that means some of this can be put on the YouTube or Google or somewhere, where you can make, links. But you need a main and the root, a learning management system. And learning management system will be something like Moodle based, which is open source, is fine. Anything's available, use them and see if you can afford them. or see if you can use them. That's all.
اوكي. طبعا هو يقول انا لا اروج لاي بلاتفورم معين، يعني ما عنده اي منصه بباله. يقول هي كلها اوبن سورسز، ناس يعني الموديل بامتيازات معينه، الكامباس، الجوجل سوت. يقول هذه الحريه تقع الى المستخدمين اللي يرى نفسه انه هذه المنصه افضل له من غيرها، عليه ان يستخدمها. اذا قدر يعمل بلند، يعني يمزج فيما بيناتها لخدمه العمليه التدريسيه بالمجمل، فهذا يكون شيء ممتاز وافضل. كل يرى ما هي احتياجاته، وايضا اذا اراد ان يشترك او يشتري هذه المنصه ويطور عليها هذا ممكن، وعليه ان ياخذ التكاليف في عين الاعتبار كذلك. أي أسئلة أخرى أو مداخلات رجاءً؟ Dear Prof, can you brief us a little about your framework? Where did it being used, implemented? Gave a very good evidence that it's an effective framework. Briefly, please.
Well, if you go to badrulkhan.com/framework, you can see different countries, different places, different universities been using it. But I personally, I think it's 2005, Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University in Dubai. I did the planning based on the framework. Used to be ETQM, Electronic Total Quality Management, ETQM College in Dubai. But later on, its name became Hamdan bin Mohammed Smart University in Dubai. I did the planning for it. I think it's 2005. I don't remember exact year. I have that listed. Is being used. And there are many other universities, virtual universities use this, but I am also, there are courses, you know. And by the way, this framework is not a prescriptive. It doesn't give you how to do it. It's descriptive. It describes what you should think about. I don't want to be prescriptive, but I do have a prescriptive model called P3 model, People's Process Product Model, P3. People's Khan's P3 model. That is prescriptive, means how you start, who are the people, what they do, what they produce.
طبعا البروف يقول كثير من الجامعات اللي طبقت هذا الفريم ورك، طبعا اشار الى وحده الكل يعرفها، هي جامعه حمدان بن محمد في دبي، اللي كان اسمها جامعه حمدان بن محمد للتعليم الالكتروني اي يونيفرسيتي، وتحول من اتطورت الى حمدان بن محمد سمارت يونيفرسيتي اللي هي موجوده في دبي. وطبعا هي هذه من افضل الجامعات بالتعليم الالكتروني بالمنطقه. انا من تجربتي الشخصيه، لانه درست حوالي 7 موديلات مختلفه للكورسات في هذه الجامعه، وتعتبر راقيه جدا من الجانب الفني ومن التوب في المنطقه وعلى مستوى العالم. والظاهر انه البروف هو اللي اشترك في تاسيس الكورسات هناك. النقطه الاخرى هو الفريم ورك، الهيكليه اللي انطاها، هي شرح ويلفت النظر إلى النقاط التي يجب أن الانتباه عليها. اللي يريد يشتغل لازم يمسك كل جزئية من هذه النقاط الثمانية ويبدي يشتغل ويهيئ الجانب البشري والتقني والإداري على فقرة فقرة. عنده هو القابلية على عمل ذلك، ولكن هذا الشرح سيطول، لأنه الهيكلية هي تشرح النقاط الأساسية لتصميم جامعة افتراضية، وإذا أراد يدخل بالتفاصيل الدقيقة سيكون الموضوع هائل وطويل جدا جدا. Some academics they feel that the e-learning shouldn't be very flexible and loose and leaving everything to the tutor or professor or the instructor. They feel it should be more classified, more professional, and it should be the work of, let's see, the departments, boards, for example, all the electronic centers in the universities, because if we leave it to the personal judgment of the tutors and instructors, the e-learning will be loose and it will not achieve its objectives. What do you think, Prof?
That makes sense. You know, I was invited by e-learning center, National e-learning center in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh, where I was a speaker with Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the web, and we did the keynote address there. So they, e-learning center, should be created. They have the guidance, international standards, so that the professors or teachers can follow. So it will be transferable to one university to another university. Credit transferable, accreditation. Yes, it's good to establish e-learning center for each university and the national e-learning center, National Center for Iraqi e-learning.
Okay.
I hope is there an honorable minister here? I hope if there's an education, someone, they should hear me out. You know, please do for the education minister, higher education, and the Minister of Education, please, my request to you, establish National e-learning center as hub for excellence of promoting education and learning. And for each university, like in Saudi Arabia, even in Al-Nazar University in Palestine, they have a learning center.
Yeah.
With this framework, an e-learning center can be established.
Yes.
So what happens, so you give the guidance. There are important criteria called SCROM, which is, I wrote a book on that one, Learning on Demand. There is being published by Department of Defense, US government. And that book is called SCROM, means Shareable Contents Reference Model, meaning that if you create an online course, online content, it should be shareable in other systems. Like a learning management system is like a SCROM. And then there are learning management system, you have Moodle, Blackboard, Canvas, but whatever they use, if it is SCROM compliant, it can be shareable. It's called interoperability standard. Yes, you do need creating a learning center which will use the international standards, local policy, and accreditation policy, and so that everyone talking the same language, following the same standards, and it's good. Thank you.
Okay. طبعا قبل أن ألخص إجابته ألفت نظر المشاركين جميعا إلى الرابط للتسجيل في هذه الندوة لغرض إصدار شهادات مستقبلا، فنزل الرابط على الشات ونرجو من الحضور البدء بملء استمارة تسجيل الحضور. الآن أجاوب على السؤال. طبعا سؤاله هو يؤيد هذه الفكرة ويقول هاي نقطة جدا جدا أساسية. يعني إذا العملية التدريسية كانت إدارة أزمة وبها مرونة كبيرة خلال جائحة كورونا، فالآن لا، العملية يجب أن تحكم بضوابط جودة أكاديمية وتكون محكومة من قبل الأقسام العلمية وعلى مستوى الجامعة وعلى مستوى الوزارة أيضا. وهو ينصح بتأسيس مراكز للتعليم الإلكتروني e-learning center في كل جامعة، وينصح أكثر بتأسيس مركز على المستوى الوطني، يعني على مستوى العراق، اللي هو مركز التعليم الإلكتروني الوطني العراقي، أو في البلدان اللي عندنا مشاركين من عدة دول الآن معانا، خليجية ومن تركيا ومن دول عربية ومن دول أوروبية، يعني اللي مهتمين بهذا الموضوع يجب أن يركزون على هذا الجانب، ويفضل أن ينشئ مركز يجد ضوابط ويضع ضوابط لجودة عملية التعليم الإلكتروني والاستفادة من التجارب العالمية في هذا المجال. Dear Prof, I did convey your message because we've got an officials from the Ministry of Higher Education, the consultant is here, university presidents from not just Iraq, even from Gulf countries and some neighboring countries. So I did pass the message concerning the national e-learning sector, or center, sorry.
Thank you, thank you. I think it's needed because you see, we never knew COVID-19 pandemic will happen like this.
Yeah.
Something severe, even worse can happen. But we need to start thinking about an alternative way of learning. And Alhamdulillah, we are blessed with all this innovation in technologies. So use it for learning appropriately, it will help. So I think an e-learning center would be a good, good guide to guide the professors and the staff to establish e-learning and blended learning in an institution.
أوكي. يعني على المستوى الوطني البروف هو ركز خلال هاي الندوة كلها على تأسيس مركز تعليم إلكتروني على مستوى القطر، وعلى التفكير في إنشاء جامعة افتراضية على مستوى القطر هي اللي تعطي الجايد وتكون دليل ومركز لإصدار الكودز والتعليمات على مستوى القطر، وستكون العملية مسيطر عليها ومحكومة ضمن ضوابط الجودة، وضمن العملية لن تكون سائبة بهذه الطريقة. هل هناك أي تعقيب دكتور محمد تحب تتفضل يعني تختم الندوة، أو هل هناك أي تعقيب؟
في ختام هذه الندوة المهمة التي تسهم في معالجة الأوضاع التي نحن فيها عالميا، لا يسعني إلا أن أقدم شكري للأستاذ الدكتور بدر خان على هذا الوقت الذي خصصه لنا في هذه المحاضرة المهمة حول التعليم الإلكتروني والتعليم المدمج. وكذلك أقدم الشكر إلى الأستاذ الدكتور رامي الحديثي الذي أمتعنا بإيجازه لهذه الأفكار الطيبة باللغة العربية، وأيضا حاور البروفيسور في تفاصيل هذا التعليم. وأشكر أيضا الأخوة المتابعين بأسئلتهم، وكنا نتمنى الحقيقة أن يكون هناك متسع من الوقت لنستمر في هذه الأسئلة، لكن مراعاة لأوقاتكم الكريمة. ونعدكم إن شاء الله في الأسبوع القادم ستكون أيضا محاضرة بهذا المستوى من الأهمية، ونحن مستمرون معكم لأجل أن نقدم هذه الخبرات في تغيير واقع التعليم ليس فقط في العراق. حقيقة احنا هنا نخاطب المحيط العربي والإقليمي ككل بمحاضراتنا. شكرا جزيلا لكم وشكرا للحضور الكريم وجزاكم الله خيرا.
At the end of this very interesting workshop and the presentation, we would like to express our deep thanks and gratitude for Prof. Badrul H for this very important lecture. And we promise him that this framework and his advices and directions will be a guideline for us in implementing the meaningful e-learning and blended learning. This is one of the best seminars in this issue, but we will not stop. We are intending to keep on going and do a weekly presentation which talks about the modern issues concerning the education, scientific issues, and the academic accreditation. And we thank all the participants and everybody who has made this presentation and this day a successful event. جزاكم الله خير وجزيل الشكر والتقدير.
Thank you. My last word, everybody who participated in this discussion, shukran. May Allah bless you. And now I say that stop and think with your learner in mind. You'll do good. May Allah bless you. And I hope and pray that you'll do good things for your children and new generation of learner. And thank you for inviting me, Dr. Hamdani, Dr. Jassim, Dr. Rami, whoever also involved and participants from other countries. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful rest of the good evening. I know it's about 11 or 12 o'clock there in Baghdad, in Iraq, in other countries, different timing. But thank you for giving me the opportunity.